I need somebody to love. I need somebody to love. Yeah. I don't need too much, just somebody to love. I don't need nothing else. I promise, girl, I swear. I just need somebody to love. I need somebody. I 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 swear, I just need somebody to love. I need somebody. I need somebody.
Tell me how you feel right now. Like,
is she up there? Is she out there? Is she out there?
like,
I just need somebody to love.
JB, you are. Yeah, man.
Your hand fits in mine like it's made just for me. But bear this in mind, it was meant to be. And I'm joining up the dots with the freckles on your cheeks, and it all makes sense to me. I know you've never loved the crinkles by your eyes when you smile. You've never loved your stomach or your thighs, the dimples in your back at the bottom of your spine. But I'll love them endlessly. I won't let these little things slip out of my mouth. But if I do, it's you. Oh, it's you they add up to. I'm in love with you. And all these little things.
You can't go to bed without a cup of tea. Maybe that's the reason that you talk in your sleep. And all those conversations are the secrets that I keep, though it makes no sense to me.
I know you've never loved the sound of your voice on tape. You never want to know how much you weigh. You still have to squeeze into your jeans, but you're perfect.
Well, very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's 5 o'clock in the United Kingdom. It's 12 noon in Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. on the west coast of Canada. We're bringing you the 2021 FINA Virtual Diving Grand Prix, hosted by Diving Plongeon Canada. We'd like to acknowledge one of our major sponsors for this event is presented by One Square Phillips. Also, Speedo Canada, Diving Plongeon Canada's major partner. Let's have a look at our start list for our event, the Men's Open Platform. This is the Prelim event. You see the first page, there's 5 athletes on that page. And then we're coming up to page number 2, which is also page number 1, as there are 5 athletes in this competition. This event is supported by Government of Canada and also supported by FINA and the Government of Ontario. FINA Water is Our World, and proudly bringing you this FINA Virtual Grand Prix. We have 34 divers in 4 nations, 6 locations in 3 different countries as we get ready for our first event. This event is produced by and powered by Integrated Sport Systems and DPC TV. We are going to be heading out to our first diver in 60 seconds. And we are back live, real-time competitions. 7 judges are on there in their home studios watching this on their tablets and laptops. They're going to be seeing the dive in real time and entering their scores using the UJudge scoring software. We have judges in Regina, Quebec City, Edmonton, Alberta, Honolulu, Hawaii, Cypress, California, Hampshire, England, Fort Lauderdale, and in Edinburgh, Scotland. We are getting ready to go. Technology is with us. We have our head referees. We have a FINA TDC member, Koki Huffman, is online with us. And running as if we are a real live in-person event. We have judges on each pool deck as well. We have Bach judges up there as well. And here we are with diver number 1. This is Ben Cutmore in Sheffield, performing a 6245D arm stand back double somersault, 2.5 twist free position. Divers getting the go-ahead from the on-deck referee. You hear the whistle in there. Julian is there with us in Sheffield. Our first dive. sometimes you'll see a dive at a replay immediately at 100%, which is for the benefit of a judge that may have had a glitch on their end, and then you get to see a replay at 80% for your entertainment. 63 points for Ben on his first and opening dive. We're going to head out to the Olympic Park Sports Center in Montreal, Canada. This is Ethan Pittman performing a 407C inward 3.5 somersault tuck position. Ethan just simply disappeared. Part of that was the sunlight casting a glare off of there, but other was just his incredible dive, the performance there. Looks like a phenomenal opening dive for Ethan on that dive. We'll see what the judges had to say. Scores coming in for Ethan on his opening dive, the inward 3.5. And there they are. Great start, 81.60 points, 8.5. 2 8s in there were his low. Great response to the opening for Ethan. We're heading out to Great Britain. Robbie Lee is out there. He's in Sheffield performing a 107B. It's an inward 3.5 somersault pike position. Forward 3.5, opening dive for Robbie out there in Sheffield. 5th at the British Nationals, this young man. Good opening dive. The judges in their studios watched the dive in real time, entered their scores into the UJudge software, and we get to see it a few times on a replay for entertainment value. 58.50 points for Robbie on his opening dive. Gonna zoom back all the way to Montreal. This is Matt Cullen performing a 107B. It's a forward 3.5 pike position. Sixteen-year-old Matt Cullen performing his opening dive. 3.5 somersault pike position for Matt. Once again, the judges saw that dive in real time. They entered their scores in the UJudge software. And here we are with their scores being broadcast, transmitted all the way to our studio in Thunder Bay, Ontario. And then sent out to you in a live stream. Just waiting on those scores for Matt. There they are, 66 points even, 8s, 7.5s in there. Staying in Montreal for Laurent Gosselin-Paradis. 407C, inward 3.5 somersault, tuck position. another replay at 100% for the benefit of our judges. A couple of them had some transmission issues and didn't see the dive clearly in the real time, so we get to see a 100% replay for them, and then some slow motion replays for us. Scores are now in for Laurent. 75.20 points is a great entry in there, great at the top. 7s and 7.5s and 8s in there. We're gonna show you a leaderboard after one round of diving and then take a short technical break while we fix some of our camera issues from there. Lots of technology in play for this event. And we are just waiting. We'll get you a beautiful water shot there so that we can show you the leaderboard. And here's the leaderboard coming to you now. And maybe we won't see that leaderboard just yet, but here's what's going on for you, ladies and gentlemen. There are 34 divers in 4 nations represented in this virtual Grand Prix. 6 locations that we have in 3 countries. In those locations, we have real-time cameras set up for you there and seeing the competition broadcast to you. Very, very little lag time from there. It's great technology. Meanwhile, the referees and the judges are sitting in their home studios watching on their laptops or tablets. They are located in many locations, as I've said before, including Honolulu, Hawaii, and Fort Lauderdale, Hampshire, England, also in Edinburgh, Scotland, Regina, Quebec City, Edmonton, Alberta, all over the place. We have a FINA TDC rep observing all of this as well as our head referee and our assistants to go from there. And each pool has a referee and on-deck referee as well. And they are doing their very best to ensure that this event is produced, run properly from there. All of that technology is then sent to our studio in Thunder Bay, and then that is broadcast to you through the live stream. We have a studio set up in Montreal that's looking after all of our judges scenario. We have a studio set up in Victoria, British Columbia, and another studio in Lake Country, BC. This is the FINA Virtual Diving Grand Prix, and we're just sorting out a technical issue with one of our cameras, and we're getting ready to head back to Great Britain very shortly. 5 divers in this event, and all of these athletes will advance on to the finals of the competition. Many of the athletes are just extremely happy to have a platform, to literal platform, no pun intended, to perform on in a live competition. It's great for them to be able to compete. Obviously very different from them not traveling and not being standing side by side with the other athletes in their competition. And maybe a little bit of benefit, the comfort of diving in their home pool and removing some of those nerves, having some comfort there. But what's going on is they are diving, doing their dives, their list in the order in which they would be at a competition. And we move from one pool to the next. It's great to be able to use this technology to bring you the virtual Canada of the Cup in a Grand Prix competition at a time, of course, when many are not able to travel outside of their own cities. We're coming out of lockdown in British Columbia. It's still very tight here, but it's across Canada starting to open up just a little bit. United States is doing a great job on their vaccination program and are opening up a lot of their live sporting events, as other parts of the world are as well. We very much look forward to getting together. Perhaps our first big live event will be in October, the Montreal World Series event. Be hosted in the pool that you see on your screen there at the Montreal Olympic Pool. Again, just a small delay in the competition while we are waiting for some technical reboots going on and the cameras and technology that is being used to broadcast and stream this. Thanks to FINA for supporting the event and sanctioning this virtual Grand Prix. It's been great to be in a partnership with FINA. This event is produced by Integrated Sports Systems and DPC TV. Second time we've done a virtual competition like this. We had a virtual Nations Challenge not so long ago. It was great to see some of the Olympic athletes before they headed off to Tokyo for the World Cup and the last chance to qualify. Bringing one of our pools back online after a shutdown and a reboot, and we'll be back with you with real-time live diving very shortly. A new software program called UJudge is being used. The judges are logged in at their home studios. They see the dive live and then they enter their scores immediately, just as they would in a live competition. There's a bit of a delay on our end of the broadcast end of 20 seconds or so. The judges are seeing the dives live in real time. We get the benefit of some replays and some analysis, and there are occasions when a glitch happens on the judge's end and we need to replay that for them. And we are getting closer and closer and closer to restarting round number 2. In the meantime, we have nothing to show you on screen other than that beautiful Olympic pool that was built for the Montreal Olympics. But it's withstood time and had a bit of lipstick applied to it. It's looking pretty good. We love hosting events in there now, as it's been transformed back into a high-performance aquatic facility. It was a convention center for a short period of time in there, with floors put down and the water taken out of the pools, but in all its glory, it is back now as an aquatics training center. National teams for diving and artistic swimming train out of that facility. Didn't really get a chance to introduce our referee and officials. Our referee for this event is Hélène Morneau. She was Canada's Olympic judge in London. Judge number 1 is Barb Bush, and she is in Edmonton, Alberta. Claire Marantette. I'm not exactly sure where Claire is. I should have found that out. She is in her studio working on her laptop watching this event. Gord Peterson is judge number 3. He's in London, Ontario. Vicky Tomlinson is our judge from Scotland. She's in Edinburgh. Susie Bamber is in Hampshire, England. Lisa Warinsky is now squatting. She's in a home in Cypress, California. She's out there with her athletes for a diving competition and is logged in to be one of our judges. Mike Wantuck is judge number 7, and he's in Fort Lauderdale, and he reported this morning on his morning walk that he saw the platforms being installed at the new aquatic facility, diving training, diving and high diving. at that brand new facility being built in Fort Lauderdale. Very much looking forward to that facility being opened up and hosting high dive training and high dive competitions, as well as regular diving. Okay, some great Grand Prix down at that Fort Lauderdale pool. And there's your judges and your panel. And Koki Hoffman is our FINA TDC overseeing this event. Hey, sounds like we're getting ready. You stop listening to me and start watching some great diving as we get there for round number 2 in Sheffield. There's Ben. You can see him down there on the 5 meter, slowly making his way back up after that technical delay that we've had. There's Ben Cutmore on his second dive. Apologies for the delay, and thank you everybody for your patience. This is Ben performing the 307C reverse 3.5 somersault tuck position. Dive is done. The replays are there. The scores are coming your direction. Scores coming in for Ben. 40.80 points in there. 3.5s were the low, 4s were the rest of the scores. And we are heading out to Montreal in Canada. Ethan Pittman, his second dive, a 207C. It's a back 3.5 somersault, tuck position. in Sheffield. And yeah, the look of Robbie Lee's face from there, this is what happened. They released Robbie to do his dive, and of course, we didn't get to see it at all. He was just informed of that, and you can tell by his reaction when he was pretty happy to be able to go and do it again. We'll never know what that first dive was. We'll call it a warm-up or a training dive. A small glitch, but we're announcing Robbie Lee's dive. It's a 624, sorry, Robbie Lee's a 305C reverse 2.5 tuck.
In real life, he's on 10 meter, ready to go. Okay. So he's at the back of the board. Do you want him to?
See Robbie getting some instructions in should I go or shouldn't I go? And here he's out to the end of the board. Robbie Lee doing his reverse 2.5.
He's just entered. In real life, he's walking behind the platform.
Replays coming in for Robbie's dive, and yeah, just making me smile a little bit there because of the technical glitch. Something happened back there in the pool. Robbie dove, but of course it was not filmed at all. So the look on his face when he was informed he was going to have to do it again. We'll never know what the first result was, but the scores coming in for Robbie on this dive. 49 points on that dive from our judges. All right, we're going to head back out to Montreal. We think we're getting back on track with our timings here. This is live real-time competition. Matt Cullen performing this 6-2-4-3D back double somersault, 1.5 twist. Sixteen-year-old Matt Cullen, two-time silver medalist at the Junior Nationals in Canada and 2 times the top 5 at the Pan Am Juniors. From Blainville, Quebec. Scores coming in for Matt. $72 points total. 8.5 up there, a low of 6.5. For Matt on that dive. We're going to stay in Montreal. Second dive for Laurent Gosselin-Paradis. 307C, reverse 3.5 somersault, tuck position. Not the entry that Laurent or his coaches were looking for. Somewhat shy of vertical. You can see in the slow motion from there, just released a little bit early. Maybe even slipped a little bit from his tuck position. Coaches and athletes will figure that out. The judges saw that real time and scored it at 22.10 points in total. Laurent will be looking to improve upon that in the finals of this event. 5 athletes, all 5 will advance into our event. A small delay again while we're waiting to go back to Sheffield. Some challenges there, some Wi-Fi and internet connectivity, which of course we need in today's world, and we certainly need it for this competition. Meanwhile, if you're in UK, have a spot of tea. Do you have tea at 5:30 in the afternoon? If not, have a nice latte. We got viewers that we know are online in Montreal and across the eastern seaboard of Canada, on the west coast of Canada. Also, earlier we had competitions and competitors performing from Indiana. Great to have athletes south of the border for us and across Canada and in the UK at this virtual Grand Prix, hosted by DPC, Diving Plongeon Canada, presented by One Square Phillips and Speedo Canada. It's great to see our athletes being able to compete at the World Cup Tokyo, the qualifying event for the Olympics. Nations qualified spots for the Olympic Games, and some of those athletes from those countries have been named to the Olympics, and others still looking to qualify at upcoming Olympic trials in the US and also here in Canada. I think the UK has named their team, as have many other countries challenging to host Olympic trials in many locations, but just a few weeks away from Tokyo 2020, held in July of 2021. Once again, we're just rebooting, refreshing in Great Britain. Hard to watch the dives live if we can't get the connectivity, so we're just sorting that out. See there in the Montreal pool, they've got the big screen set up that the athletes are able to see the results on the leaderboards, as well as replays of the dives. Got some audio coming in there, so we get a shout out to all of our friends and colleagues in Montreal. I think that's Sarah on the camera. Olivier is our on-deck referee. Coaches and athletes are just below the screen off camera there. Geller's probably in the venue. He probably wants to climb up to that new 20-meter tower that's been installed there in Montreal. You can't quite see it on the top of the picture frame there, but a 20-meter platform that's been installed in the rafters for athletes to train. We have 2 Canadian athletes that are currently training there, and some visitors have come in and trained there on occasion. Perhaps a competition be held there for the women's height of 20 meters sometime in the near future. Well, you can see Sheffield is back up, and this is round number 3, Ben Cutmore, a 407C inward 3.5 cup. Up and running and back live in Sheffield. That was Ben Cutmore. Gold at the World Juniors team event. European Juniors gold medalist as well. Scores coming in for Ben. As you can see on the replay. It's a good result. 8s in there, 7.5s for Ben on his 3rd dive. Let's head back out for round number 3 in Montreal. This is Ethan Pittman, a 6'2", 4'5" arm stand back, double somersault, 2.5 twist, free position. Replays coming in for our judges. Just seeing the replay for Ethan here, the delay on transmission for the judges. They're watching it live and should be able to enter. This is bit of a challenge with communications in our various pools. Robbie Lee is not looking as happy, being informed he may have to do a redive. So here's the scenario, ladies and gentlemen. I'm listening to all kinds of communication from the production studio and our judges. Here's what's happened. We were waiting for the scores for Ethan. Judges were looking for a replay on Ethan. We noticed that Robbie was getting ready to go. So we zoomed to Great Britain, saw his dive, and the judges are now conferring, entering their scores for Robbie, and then we'll come back to get the scores for Ethan. So we are going to see the scores for Robbie. Scores are in for Robbie's dive. He was performing an arm stand. And he gets 50.40 points and doesn't have to do a redive. That was Robbie's 624B. It was an arm stand back double somersault. He did his dive and he got his scores. And now we're going back to play a live replay, 100% watching Ethan's dive. So our judges can have a chance. There's Ethan's score, 66.60 points. You see some sixes in there, 6.5s from our judges. So in order of diving, we saw Robbie Lee in Great Britain dive and got his scores. And now we'll come back to Canada for Matt Cullen. And while that's all going on, we're rebooting the Sheffield camera systems one more time. We staying in Montreal for our next two divers. There's Maddie's dive. We got to see it one more time at real speed and real time, and then the slow motions. Year-old Matt scores are coming in. 0.60. And Matt's third dive. Sounds like we're getting all the technology issues. We have one more dive here in Montreal. This is Laurent Rosslyn Paradis on the 10 meter 6243D. It's an arm stand back double somersault with 1.5 foot. Montreal, this is Ethan Pittman, 307C, reverse, 3.5 somersault, tuck position. Don't call that an entry. We call it a landing. The judges took note. Ethan took note. His back took note, that's for sure. 35.70 points on that dive for Ethan. Let's head back out to Great Britain in Sheffield. This is Robbie Lee. And performing a 5.253V, back 2.5, 1.5 twists.
Jules, whistle. Yeah, Dan is, we were just late on the whistle, so we.
Here's we're back on track, synchronized with all of our technology, and you get to see Robbie's dive live and in the right order from there as the scores are coming in for Robbie Lee. 72 points even, 5 7.5s and 2 7s in there. Back out to Montreal. This is round number 4 for Matt Cullen, a 407C, inward 3.5 somersault, tuck position. One real speed replay for that dive and a replay coming your way. Scores coming in from around the network. $70.40 points for Matt on that dive. Staying in Montreal, Laurent Gosselin-Paradis, 107B, forward 3.5 somersault, pike position. Scores coming in for Laurent. Scores are now posted for Laurent. 60 points even on that dive. 6.5 were the low. 7.5 was the high. That is the end of round number 4. And we are going to show you, our live stream audience, the leaderboard. Judges do not get to see this leaderboard. And we are heading back to the start of round number 5. Ben Cutmore in Sheffield, a 207C. It's a back 3.5, tuck position.
Yeah, we have down.
Scores coming in for Ben. We'll challenge on the replays from there, but judges got to see it real time and entered their scores. 64.35 points for Ben on his well-executed back 3.5. Going to Canada for Ethan Pittman. This is a 107B. Forward, 3.5 somersault. Height position. Judges got to see the scores, and 73.50 points for Ethan on that dive. Let's head over back to Great Britain. Here we are in Sheffield. Robbie Lee performing the 207C, back 3.5, tuck position. Scores coming in, replays being shown. This is a virtual diving Grand Prix. It's Robbie Lee on your camera, and there's his score, 79.20 points. High at 8.5 in there, low of 7.5. From Sheffield to Montreal, this is Matt Cullen, 205B, 2.5, tight position. Just waiting on a replay for our real time. Just standing by for a full speed replay of that dive. Replays for Matt Cullen from there, and our scores are in. I'm hearing it in my ear from our production studio. 73.95 for Matt. It was well worth the wait to see those scores. That is Laurent standing up there on the 10 meter in Montreal. He is performing a 207C. Back 3.5, top position. One more replay coming your direction for Laurent. And our judges are entering their scores. One more replay coming your direction. Some glitches happening at our technical side for our judges viewing this dive. We're going to see Laurence dive one more time at real speed. For the sake of our judges, and it was a good dive, so we get to see it a few times. Thank you, Laurent. Thank you, our judges and our production team, getting that together. 64.35 points. That was the end of the 5th round of diving. Can we get through round number 6? There are just 5 dives remaining, and these athletes will know their rankings as they move on to the finals of this event, the men's 10 meter at the FINA Virtual Grand Prix. You can see your results on your leaderboard. Judges cannot see that leaderboard. And starting our 6th and final round, last dive for Ben Cutmore. 5-2-5-3-B. It's a back 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twists. See Ben there getting himself ready. His on-deck referee has indicated through their whistle that he's ready to go, and we get to watch it real time just now. Really decent final dive for Ben in this round. I think he'll be happy with that. 60.80 points. Room for improvement, of course. He'll be looking to advance on those scores during the finals. Technology's taking us back to Montreal. This is a live shot of Ethan Pittman performing a 5-2-5-3-B. It's back 2.5 somersault with 1.5 twist. Tight position. Real speed replay for Ethan, and now one for our enjoyment. A little bit slower motion at 80% for us to see a little more of the technical side of that. Judges saw it real time, and they entered their scores onto their UJudge scoring software and have awarded Ethan 72 points. 2/8, 7.5 were the rest for his final dive of this prelim. Back out to Sheffield in the UK. This is Robbie Lee, 407C in a 3.5 tuck position. Robbie Lee from Great Britain wraps up his prelims. He was a bronze medalist at the Dresden Youth International on the platform. It's a tough competition, that Dresden Youth International. Attracts some of the top young athletes, young divers to that competition. Scores are coming in for Robbie. There he is, awaiting 62.40. You can see his results. High of 7, low of 6, and 6.5 were the rest. We're going to be heading out to Montreal. Matt Cullen. His final dive of 5.253B. This is a back 2.5 somersault with 1.5 twist. Just awaiting and some real-time replays for the benefit of our judges. Bit of a technical issue transmitting that dive to our judges around the globe. Just get to see it a few times from there. Judges doing their very best to score it. And we now have the scores have come in. Matt Cullen with 67.20 points, his final dive. This is round number 6 of 6. He will advance on to the finals of this competition, as will all 5 of our competitors. Staying in Montreal, the final dive of the event belongs to Laurent Gosselin-Paradis. 5.253B, this is a back 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist, pike position. Well, we are reaching the end of the competition. Judges' scores are in for Laurent Gosselin-Paradis. His final score is coming up on your screen now. 70.40 points for Laurent. You're going to see the leaderboard after the end of our competition. We'll all get to see it now, including the judges and referees. They were not privy to this information throughout the competition. Those 5 athletes will advance on to the finals of our event. Thank you to our judges for bearing with us. Thank to you, our viewing audience, for sticking with us through the technical difficulties. Our judges, referees, and our FINA TDC looking after the event. This was the FINA Virtual Grand Prix Canada Cup. Thanks to the Government of Canada for their financial support, and One Square Phillips, the ongoing sponsor of Diving Plongeon Canada. Speedo Canada, thanks to their ongoing sponsorship and support, and their presentation of this event. Supported by FINA, Water is Our World, and this wraps up the competition for us today. The event is also supported by the Government of Ontario,